What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, wanted to do another breakdown of film here. Some of the good and some of the bad of Anthony Richardson. Definitely want to see more of this. And I know you guys reacted really well to the last time we did this. And it feels like we can definitely put this in as well. Cody, I mean, obviously, just quick reaction to the game itself. Obviously, we've had a full 24 hours to sit on it. I know that box score wise still wasn't a great game. I would argue this was probably Richardson's second or third most accurate game of the season, pretty much of his entire young career so far. I know there was a couple of throws that you definitely want to have back, and definitely a couple of turnover worthy plays in this game. But again, compared to where Anthony Richardson was to start the year, sure, wasn't a great game by any stretch, but you definitely saw more improvements, and you saw Anthony Richardson still looking better than what he did at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I think just Derek, out of the 3 games since he's been back after being benched, I think we could probably say this was his worst game. But he still, I think, did some really good things, and obviously at the end did some phenomenal things to help the Colts win. So, yeah, and it's something, Derek, that, despite the fact that I think he played so well in the last 2 weeks, against some defenses that actually weren't too bad. I think it gets lost sometimes where he plays so well, we kind of forget, hey, he still is basically a rookie. He still is basically a rookie. He still hasn't played a full stretch of, 17 games. So he's still taking time. He's still growing. He's still developing. He's still going to have those bumps on the road. He's still going to revert back to some of those things we saw pre-benching. So, yeah, Derek, I mean, we saw a little bit of that today. We saw some sloppy footwork at times, but I think overall, Derek, you're encouraged about the growing, even though despite the fact that we do have growing pains, you are encouraged about where AR is going. And I mean, what can you say, Derek? 2 out of the last 3 weeks leading game-winning drives. That has to do something for the confidence of this young kid. So, yeah, it was definitely some ups and downs in this game, but overall, obviously the ups outweighed the downs when it came down to it. So definitely excited to jump into this one today.
All right, well, let's not waste any more time. We got a couple of different plays here, guys. We don't have like what we saw last week with the Lions where everyone was breaking down every single throw, because last week it was a huge issue with the box score, and it felt like people had to really make a statement with every single throw. But we do have a couple here. We have the end of the game. We have some of the stuff, like some plays in between, things like that. So we got some good throws. We got some bad throws here when we're looking at some of these. This is one of those, I think this was a throw either, I think it was mid-third quarter, because this completion actually goes to Alec Pierce. Now, I don't think Alec Pierce had a catch in the first half, if I'm not mistaken, Cody. So
no,
definitely one of those where you finally saw Alec Pierce get involved. And this is a good rep here. Again, it's one of those where he's threading the needle. And, he kind of sidearms this as well. Steps up off balance and still kind of sidearms this in between 2 defenders. It does a really great job of stepping up, realizing it, and still keeping his eyes down the field, and still directing the linebacker with his eyes. Because see, when you see him kind of hesitate right here, when you see him hesitate, that makes that linebacker stop for a split second. Because instead of him rolling out like normal quarterbacks do, he stops right here. So he's repositioning himself, and that forces this guy to crash down, and it forces this guy to stop, and it allows Alec to seat behind him and still be able to find a way, sidearms it in there. That's a really good rep there by Anthony Richardson, man.
It is, yeah. And despite the fact he's a little bit off balance, he's running, like you said, he's on the run. I mean, I just feel like AR, that's something that he just does so well, Derek, is on the run, outside of the pocket, having to make a play. He just does that so well. We even saw that last year. I think that's a strength of his game, is he's able to do that. And, Derek, we broke it down, I don't even know how many times a week ago where, Anthony Richardson just did not have time, like with that linebacker right there. Like a week ago, he probably was hit. He probably had a defender at his ankle half a second earlier.
Yep.
And that completely changes that play right there. So, I mean, definitely great to have his mobility, but, shout out to the offensive line as well, being able to really sell that over to the left and, really draw the defenders over there. So AR pretty much has a clean pocket and can do whatever he wants for a time there. So, yeah, great play by him there. Great heads-up play by AR there. Like you said, he could have kept rolling, but he stopped and waited for that linebacker. So, yeah, good play there.
I appreciate Colts Film Room for having a couple of these to be able to kind of dissect. Colts Film Room does a great job over there. I believe he's with Blue Stable and actually does a lot of film breakdowns for them. So here is one of those throws where this was one of the few throws here, Cody, that AR had where you're like, darn, like you probably should have taken this one back. So right here, you're going to see this is the interception by Christian Gonzalez. Again, young player out of Oregon. And you can see why this guy was so highly recruited. Alec is open at the top of this route, Cody. So, I mean, right here, he's looking at AP. He's seeing it right here. And obviously, this is intended to go here in the middle. And right here is probably when he should have started throwing it, because right here, you see that gap that he has.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right here is when he should have been throwing this ball. But he hesitates. So instead of releasing it right here, he releases it now. So he released it a full second too late. And then, of course, you allow Christian Gonzalez to close on that gap, and then he just hops the route. I mean, that's just a great play by Christian. Again, it was just late. Had he maybe tried to wait just a little bit longer, I mean, look at what happens with Pittman here. If he maybe breaks out of this, I mean, look at Pittman out here with all that green, right? So again,
he either needs to make that decision a second earlier, or he needs to wait and find Pittman over the top there. Yeah.
It was definitely just a bad throw. It really wasn't even a bad decision. It was just the timing of it was the problem. And
it's a good decision a second earlier, but when you throw it too late, that's what happens.
Yep, and that is one of those things that, we mentioned it. AR is going to have to learn those, right? And I'm sure Shane Steichen today and tomorrow is probably going to be posting that clip a million times and be like, hey, this is what you should have done, or this is what you could have done. Going over this play a million times, right? Because that's one of those where like that can influence a game drastically if you have too many of those.
Right. And again, with young players, they often say it takes some time, right, for the game to slow down a little bit for them. And so I'm hoping that that's one of those instances where AR learns from this one, from the film, and he's able to, process that a little bit quicker there, like a little bit quicker there. The game slows down for him in his mind, and so he's able to make those split-second decisions a little quicker and not be late on those throws.
All right, so this was the catch by Ogletree on the first drive where Indy scored. It's going to be very similar to how the last play went down, other than the fact that that the tight end is not going to go into the flat as much back here, and it's going to be an RPO rather than play action. So basically, this play is just going to happen a lot quicker. And obviously, you see this, and Ogletree gets the 20-yard catch after the nice throw by Anthony Richardson. Again, he could have chose Cody to, there's a lot of things you could have done in this moment. You could have hit the flat right here, sure, but you probably only get maybe 2-3 yards if you're lucky. But then, of course, he's watching this guy right here to see if he falls back or if he stays down low. And he stayed down low here. And then this is where the game of Anthony Richardson really starts taking a hint on it. And you see the touch. Because right here, so he completes this. And look, there's 1, 2, 3 guys all within a span of 5 yards of Drew Ogletree here. And if this ball doesn't have that touch, that's either an incompletion or Ogletree gets killed or there's an interception here. So, I mean, what a beautiful throw by Anthony Richardson. And it shows you just how much more comfortable he's gotten.
Yeah, the touch has been like the last 3 weeks, the touch has been so much better than it was early on. And Derek, that's not necessarily an easy throw right there. I mean, that's off your back foot, that's on the run again. But again, I think that's what the Colts need to continue to do because AR is really good at that, right? Throwing off his back foot, throwing on the run, throwing when there's a defender in his face. Like he's so good at that.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, yeah, we talked about like some of his issues throwing the ball, the short to intermediate game, but this is something that he has been good at since he's been in Indianapolis. So I'd say continuing with those RPO games because the Colts were running the ball extremely well, right? So you're able to get that linebacker to bite there right in the middle as well, and you're able to hesitate the guys just enough to open up that window right there between the three defenders. And that's what I love about the RPO game, especially. That's why we say like it's going to be so dangerous because there's always that threat that JT can take it. He can go to the house any moment,
Yep. 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 It was perfectly timed. Absolutely. And then, of course, we'll go to Noah Compton's last thing here. This was the final drive here for the Indianapolis
Yep.
Colts. And of course, this is the moneymaker, right, Cody? You're down a touchdown. You have 5 minutes. You're got to go 80 yards.
And you've just thrown your second interception
Yes.
that we already watched.
And the morale is extremely low. You were thinking 3 plays ago that, oh no, the game is completely over because Anthony Richardson just threw an interception with 7 minutes left. And your defense, which has given up points all game long against this New England offense, finally gets a stop and gives you one more chance to right the wrong. And Anthony Richardson and company does that here. So, first play, Michael Pittman on a quick little out route, 9 yards.
Derek, and that's something we said when we were doing the play-by-play, right? It's like that is just something that almost like every drive the Colts actually scored on, their first down play was a positive play. It got 4 or 5 yards. And that's what we didn't see against the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
It was almost like every drive would either be a penalty or like a negative play.
Yeah.
Or like
or a penalty. Yeah.
Zero gain.
Penalty.
It was always second and long. But now you go from, 1st and 10 to 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. I mean, that's so huge.
Yeah.
Right there to make it so much more.
And that was where being able to run the football really came in handy for Anthony Richardson.
Oh, yeah.
If you are able to get your team in 2nd and mid or 2nd and short on a consistent basis, it allows you to open things up on 2nd down because then you can be creative and you know that even if you fail, you have a 3rd down and a 3rd down that's insanely manageable based on whatever you want to run. So I don't know every play of this. We're going to see this here. I think this is an incompletion here by Anthony Richardson. Underthrows Alec Pierce here on this. So this was a play action here. Has the pocket, has the time, rolls out to his right, which is good. I just think that he didn't get the opportunity, Cody, to push off that back foot. I think he threw it off the back foot still. And that's why this was left a little short. Or maybe he had a hesitation that maybe this throw wasn't actually open when he threw it.
Yeah, right. And he's under that duress too. Nobody's open initially, has to scramble out. And I honestly think, he kind of just at the last minute was like, well, shoot, like nobody's open. I'm just going to kind of see what I can do here.
In my opinion, right here, he should have decided, I'm going to this.
Yeah.
That is one of those where he needs to learn that, like, Your throw doesn't have to be 50 yards down the field. This right
The
here,
layup.
because
The
JT
layup.
would have caught this. And I mean, there's no one here, Cody. I mean, this is at worst a 6 or 7 yard catch by Jonathan Taylor, and you get positive yardage out of it on first down rather than now it being second and long. So that is another thing that Shane Steichen will have to work through with
Yeah.
him and say, hey, like that needs to be changed.
Yeah, the high percentage plays. That's just what, like the layups, like we've talked about, right? Like it's okay. You don't have, not every play has to be this 30-yard bomb.
Yeah.
You know, like you can take those short ones and just continue to go along. And again, Derek, that's just something Anthony Richardson didn't really do most of this season, right? The Colts didn't ask him to do that a whole lot. It was a lot of vertical game and all that kind of stuff. And so it's probably still something he's not completely comfortable with.
And here's the other thing too, is like, how much of that did he do in college? How much of that was he asked to do in high school? How much of that was he asked to do when he first came into the league? Right? Like, I mean, that is not something that is probably programmed into his mind to say, hey, you got to learn to take the easy stuff. He didn't have to for a good chunk of his career. And he was never asked to. You're right. So this is just one of those things that he's 22 years old. He needs to learn it. And the best way to learn it is after he gets told enough times and completes enough of those, then eventually he will learn that a simple dump down pass to Jonathan Taylor will actually come in handy. So
right. And it's like going back to the old, like, you don't know what you don't know. Right. And so as he continues, to see this on film, like you said, and as he continues to be having that, and I'm sure Shane's just ingraining this into his head, like, dude, you got to take those easy throws.
Yep.
I mean, I think eventually he's going to learn because, I mean, we saw, like, when Shane has told him stuff, he and really has been like, no, this needs to change or this needs to happen. I mean, AR is the type of kid, Derek, that you get this from just his character. Like, he's going to take that to heart. He's going to work his best to become that guy. Again, he should have made that throw right there. He should have made that throw. That was a mistake by AR. He shouldn't have hesitated. He should have made that throw, even if that's not the play necessarily, like taking those plays. So, yeah, I mean, that's AR. That's on AR. I mean, the pocket was good initially. He kind of ran himself into pressure a little bit there, but nobody was open down the field. He should have just checked it down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all learning stuff. That's all growing pains. That's all stuff I'm not super surprised about.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely on AR, no doubt. We're not going to absolve him of blame there.
Third down pass here, and this is just a miss here, Cody. I mean, he's got a clean pocket, and he just sails this. And I don't even think the feet are terrible. I would say, like, I would have liked him to have been a little bit more squared up at the beginning of this, but I don't even think the mechanics are bad. I think he just sailed it.
You know how they like say sometimes quarterbacks can like get this phantom pressure, like pressure that's not there?
Yeah.
And even though the pressure's not there on the right side, but there's a guy kind of close, so I kind of wonder, did he maybe feel that a little bit more than it should have been?
Maybe.
And that made him kind of panic a little bit and sail that thing. I don't know.
But
yeah, I mean,
it was a very uncharacteristic throw of him in that game because up until that moment, Cody, I don't think you and I had seen, outside of maybe once, did we see a throw that was that overthrown.
Right. With no pressure in his face or anything like that. Yeah. I mean, Derek, and that's something that he's struggled with all year, right? He's done that. The touch is still, even though it's better, it still leaves some to be desired.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Still a work in progress. Yeah.
That stuff happens, man. Like, it happens with every young quarterback, especially a quarterback, like you said, that he's never really learned about this stuff. So he's literally learning this year. Like, this is his first full season to learn. And like, you can hear all you want. You can do all these mental reps, but the physical reps, that's what matters. And this is his first year to get these physical reps. So
absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, it's clearly better than it was, but you're still occasionally going to have these throws.
Oh yeah. That's just something you're going to have to live with Anthony Richardson this year. Might be something you have to live with for the rest of his career. But, again, it's a work in progress. We'll see what happens. 3rd down and 10 here. Richardson, I don't even remember what happens here. So this is the catch by Will Mallory. We had confirmed this wasn't a catch. If you looked at the replay, it wasn't a catch. I'm surprised that the Patriots didn't decide to challenge it because that ball definitely hit the ground, but a completed pass nonetheless by Anthony Richardson to Will Mallory. It wasn't a great play, but it did end up getting you 7 yards.
Yeah. Derek, I don't even know what a catch is anymore. So, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, true that.
For all the times that they miss, they call non-catches catches and the opposite, whatever at this point. It happens all the time.
So this is the 4th and 3 here. First 4th down that the Colts had faced on this drive here. So Richardson's going to get this. And this is a great play here, Cody. I mean, my God. This right here. So everybody's taken right here. Then you bring the safety, and then one of the only few quarterbacks in the NFL that is capable of doing something like this, going out, having the athleticism to be able to get away from the safety blitz, and then to just dot it right there to Molly Cox. Not go under pressure, not fold, just place it right there. Perfect.
Yeah. That's the unscripted stuff you just can't teach, Derek. That's why the Colts fell in love with him. Right there. Those type of plays. That, like you said, 90-some% of quarterbacks in today's NFL cannot make that play. Just because they're not that athletic. I mean, AR is quite literally, we've talked about this, Derek. AR quite literally is a physical specimen for a reason. Like, he is one of one, as his tattoo says.
And that was huge because obviously that was a 4th down, and being able to place that right there where the tight end was needed. Now, I don't remember all the plays here, so I'm trying to remember if there was anything that was run plays. But here we go, play action. And this might have been, I don't know if this is the AP one. It is the AP one. So gets all this time, and I love the throw. I love the pocket. Again, wish you could have gotten a more high quality throw than this, or more higher percentage look. I mean, ultimately, Cody, it's just, again, him trying to get it to AP. He trusts AP, but nobody's open. I mean, he's just not open there.
Yeah, well, he should have caught that. I mean, no doubt.
I mean, it was great coverage. I mean, it was a great throw to the right spot, but the defender is just all over it.
You're right. Sorry, I was thinking that was the AD one. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's just,
my bad on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where I wish that we could have executed a higher percentage.
But this was like a 2nd and short, so it's like you can't fault them for trying to go deep. Like on a 2nd and short, whatever. Like, and now you're still in 3rd and short. I can't fault the Colts for doing that. I just can't.
And then this was a play that you saw a lot of his rookie year. But for some reason, Cody just seems to not really be much of a thing anymore this year, is these quick slants, these RPO, watch the linebacker. If the linebacker folds down, so he's reading this guy. He's reading this guy, and he's reading this guy. So if this guy crashes and this linebacker comes down, then he's going to hit Pittman right here in this little dead spot before this guy can come over. And I mean, it's beautiful. I wish they would do more of these.
Yeah. No doubt. Those high percentage type of throws.
Yep. And that was a great play.
Exactly. Yeah. I wish they did that more. All right, here we go.
Now, I think this is the Adonai Mitchell.
That's the one I was thinking.
Cody, you can't script this any better. I mean, that ball is dotted.
That's money.
That's money. Right there. You got to catch that.
I mean, that's beautiful touch again by AR. I mean, yeah. You can't, I mean, that's just something, that's just ridiculous. I know there's a defender right there, but you got to come down with it.
And obviously there's contact, but like, he put that thing in the bread basket, dude. I mean, it sucks. And it sucks too, because this is one of this is not the only big time drop that happened on this drive.
No, one of two, right?
Yep, one of the two big ones. So again, huge, would have put them at the 10-yard line and, would have had some things moving. And then obviously this is another fourth down where Anthony Richardson had to get the first down on the run. And we see this play right here. And then this is the next one. So again, gets it. Dime to Kylan Granson. Granson, if he catches this too, look, he falls and the safety doesn't even have a chance to check him because he puts it where Granson had to dive for it, so he's already on the ground. And that one, again, hits the hands of Kylan Granson, and Granson doesn't catch it.
And that's multiple weeks now that Kylan Granson has made a mental error, right? When on a big play.
Yep. So, again, it's why we've been saying over the last several weeks that the Indianapolis Colts desperately need a receiving tight end. They need someone that's going to actually catch the football when they throw it to him and can get open.
And that's why I said, obviously, he can't do anything right now, but Will Mallory can catch that. Put Will Mallory in. Give him some more reps. If Kylan Granson is literally not going to do the one thing you drafted him for, then he doesn't need to be seeing the field. I mean, that's way too ridiculous that's continuing to happen. It's multiple weeks now that it's been happening. So the Colts are serious about accountability. Like, he should not be seeing the field, honestly.
And then this one was a pass intended for Michael Pittman. Now, obviously, Michael Pittman was held on this play, so it was pass interference. Had Michael Pittman not been held, probably would have gotten the first down on this play because, he had the angle and he would have gotten to the spot a lot easier. But yeah, the defender 100% held to get positioning. So yeah, it was definitely a play there. And then you go back to Michael Pittman. Again, the quick screen, the fake to the one side and then Pittman on the other. I mean, Cody, I love that when we did screens in this game, they worked like situationally.
Yep. I know. I'm like, gosh, do that more, man. Like, this is the first game in a long time the Colts have actually done some screens that have actually worked, to their wide receivers. So
here's the thing, though. It's because the problem with some of the screens that the Colts run is they telegraph it too easily. Like, it takes too long to get the throw to the receivers. But like these, I mean, look, I mean, the ball's not even, the ball is in Richardson's hand and out within a second.
Yeah,
I mean, exactly. It's out quick. Like, doesn't have to think about it. Just catch it, look this way, bam. Just, it's there. It's quick. It doesn't have to think about it. And it just works that way.
And it certainly helps when you have guys, coming up in front there to help as well. And you have the tight end down blocking. So, yeah, definitely great.
I love this. I love this camera angle. I love the end zone angle because I can see. I used to watch a ton of film in high school because of football. And, I used to film the games a lot too. So I get to watch it from this angle. It's beautiful. But here we go. So we're getting a couple runs here. We're not going to break these down. We're going to break down the throws. But here we go. So this next one right here. So this is the touchdown throw here. So Richardson stepping, waiting, and has all this time, keeps those shoulders straight. And what a dot to Alec Pierce, man. I mean, that ball, and Cody, if that ball is short or it's behind AP, that's not a touchdown. I mean,
look at his calmness in the pocket there, Derek.
Perfect.
Look how calm he is. I mean, he would not be that calm earlier this season. I mean, he is so poised back there. It's crazy the difference.
Watch the feet. Watch the feet. They're perfect on the dot, pointed at the receiver where it needs to go, and then the shoulders just the follow through. It's just
and he wasn't rushing it. He wasn't rushing it. He waited till his guy became open. I love that. I just love that patience right there.
And then, of course, we have to watch the game ender right here. Of course. You got to be able to watch. And listen, the MVP of this play, The MVP of this play is Nelson. Watch this big boy right here. Watch what he does to get this. So he's going to pull. Watch this. Bam!
Boom.
Cleans
90
out. So right here in this moment, so Gonsalves whiffs. Gonsalves whiffs here. So he's supposed to seal this. Nelson's supposed to seal out here, and Richardson's supposed to follow through here. But because he whiffs, and then Nelson sees he's here, holds him just enough so that he doesn't get momentum, and Nelson just clean houses. And then Richardson just follows behind.
Yeah. You have a 255-pound quarterback. You better use him, Derek.
That is right. So that's pretty much it right there, man. That's all the film that we could get from that game. Again, Cody, a couple mistakes here and there. Again, we fully expected there's going to still be some downs when it comes to Anthony Richardson, but also as well, not having Josh Downs in that game, not having your best weapon and still being down in those situations. Anthony Richardson showed you, even when he's not having a great game, he can still give you what you need to win.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's critical, man. That clutch gene right there, like the ability to stay calm and collected, under pressure when the game is on the line. That's just stuff, again, just like the physical ability. It cannot be taught, Derek. It happens. It's just a part of their DNA. So, yeah, it wasn't a perfect game at all, like we said. I mean, I saw at least 2 missed throws there that he definitely could have taken some.
Yeah.
And I know there was at least one more that we didn't watch as well that he could have made. So, I mean, definitely a lot more missed throws than we've seen the last couple of weeks. But again, Derek, when it mattered, the kid delivered. I mean, that's massive for his confidence and the confidence of this team moving forward in a game that you looked all but dead right at the end there.
Yep.
To have your kid, you have your guy that you're hoping is your franchise lead you on that type of drive to win, not just tie, but to win the game. I mean, that's huge.
Yep.
And he made the 2 biggest plays of this game, that pass and that run.
Yep. And
you won.
A huge confidence booster going into the remaining of the schedule.
Absolutely. So, I mean, yeah, it wasn't perfect. We knew it wouldn't be with this kid. But, I mean, he's definitely shown you, man, that he's got what it takes to be the guy. I think, Derek, we can confidently say now that benching, it worked. It worked.
It does feel like it gave him a great mental reset. And, unfortunately, I don't think it was a Steichen decision to have that happen in the first place. But I think now Ballard is going to use that as an excuse to, say, hey, look at what I did. This is my decision, right. And see what happened with Anthony Richardson. But I will say this, this was the reminiscence of Anthony Richardson that we were hoping to see at the end of the year that gave us a little bit of confidence that, do you have something with this kid? Remember when we were asking the question and when he got benched, right? And, Jason Spears talked about it. The other podcasts talked about it. You and I talked about it. How long do you give this kid until you finally start having the conversation? Oh, maybe he's not the answer. And we're hoping that, by the end of this year or maybe at the start of next year, we start seeing something a little bit different. Well, we're seeing something a little bit different here, Cody. It's not the finished product yet, not even close. But this is a much more refined Anthony Richardson that Colts fans needed to see from him to finally feel like we could do something with this kid.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So definitely some things to build off of for AR. Still plenty of ways to go, but definitely encouraged by him and his progress so far in the last 3 games. So guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, but that'll do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, all that good stuff. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. And as always, guys, go Colts.